plaintiff, Elizabeth Merritz, was friends with the defendant for years, and she allowed the defendant to move into her home. However, she claims the defendant failed to pay rent and damaged her home, so she's suing. Defendant Melissa Blake says she and Elizabeth had a falling out after Elizabeth became severely addicted to drugs and shaved her hair off. Melissa's countersuing for breach of contract and emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Melissa and I have been friends through our 20s, 30s, and now into our 40s. Unfortunately, we have come to our last event for our friendship. Over the years, she's helped me when I moved into my first apartment in Sacramento. She came out there and decorated it. When I moved to Kansas City, her and her family came out there. She's been part of my family. My mom knows her, my son knows her. Everybody knows her. So
you all never had a falling out before?
Oh, we've had our falling outs before, yes, sir. But you kind of get to a point where you figure at 43, kind of done going through this with her.
What type of things have you all fallen out about?
We usually have fallouts over the fact that I've helped her and she doesn't want to repay it, or she gets mad and doesn't want to do things that need to be done. Very much like this, except at this point we actually have had a lease and money that's not paid and damages that have been done.
Okay, let me allow her to give some background, then we'll get to the specifics.
Elizabeth's right. We have been friends for about 20 years. Over the years, our kids have grown up together and everything like that. We had a falling out in Kansas City. She was on drugs pretty bad, shaved her head off, didn't talk to me for a while. We just recently reconnected a couple years ago, so we've had several.
What does shaving her head have to do with? I'm just curious. What's wrong with that? That's fashionable now in certain, among African American women in particular. So that's why I was just curious before we start talking about shaving your head like there's something wrong with that. I like it. You might have liked George. You have any pictures?
It looks really cute, actually.
That's what I'm saying. You have any pictures?
No, not from back then.
All right, so rent and property damage, how does she owe you for that?
She has not paid 3 months worth of rent. I have the 3 months that she didn't pay the rent.
Tell me the background, the agreement, you said there was a lease involved.
Yes, we have an actual
lease.
The
beginning of the tenancy. How did you all come to stay?
It first started that I actually flew down to Texas with my son and helped her move back to Colorado because she was having some medical problems and things down there and needed help getting back. So we get back, we moved her into the downstairs of the house that the lease is for the upstairs. She then moved in, she lived downstairs for a while, got on her feet. The saying, you don't know what you have until it's gone. I had my great renter upstairs, moved her out so I could move Melissa and her son in upstairs. And then it's just sort of gone to pieces from there.
I'm sorry, why did we move me upstairs? Was it because you wanted stuff downstairs and your mom lied to the current renter?
Downstairs is supposed to be my space.
Your mom lied to the current renter.
The downstairs is supposed to be my space, and if you read the lease, it states the personal use of the upstairs, living room, kitchen, bedroom.
Is that lease signed?
Yeah, by you.
Let's get back to talking to me, man.
Okay, sorry, Your Honor.
You all signed a lease together?
Yes, the
she
lease
signed,
yes,
and you signed. Let me
you.
see it, please, Doyle. And so what was the issue regarding
the downstairs is supposed to be my space. When I come to visit Colorado Springs, so I don't have to get hotels and that stuff, that's our space. So we moved Melissa into our space. The idea is that she wanted to be in a house where she could be until her son graduated from high school. She likes to have chickens and she does her activities, her knick-knacking and stuff. So with a full garage that she could use, have access to the driveway, a place to put chickens. It's a house, but you just use the upstairs.
A place to put chickens.
Yeah, it's a big yard. She had a chicken.
I had chickens.
Yeah, she had a lot of chickens.
You don't wring their necks, do you?
They were pets. They were actually pets.
All right, I had somebody said they lived on a farm and their grandfather used to, yeah.
That would be her.
I don't
Take them with one hand, swoop around and break their necks and they're dead with one hand. Is that true?
There are people who do that. I don't slaughter my birds that way, but you can.
You can actually take it with your wrist and pow.
Swing it around hard enough, yeah.
When I was a kid, they used to say, I'm going to wring your neck.
I know, I've heard it, but that's breaking your neck. Wringing your neck is just shaking it.
Oh, okay.
like
They
my
break
mother
the
used to
chickens
do
back
me.
hour.
She never tried to pop it.
Oh, that'd be rough.
She could have popped it, my mom.
Oh yeah, I mean I mean.
Pow! I've
Before
never
we
heard
had
of that, and I
animal
found
rights.
that fascinating. All right, so you were popping chicken necks, and
No, they were
what
pets.
other pets did you have?
I had a dog and I had a cat.
No pig?
Yeah,
Pigs
no
are
pig.
good pets.
She has
Two
the
cats.
pigs.
You had the.
You
pig,
have the
funny.
pig?
the beginning, I only had
ranch,
one
so
pig.
yes, I have cows, chickens, pigs.
Okay, I understand. I'm learning a little something. So are all the other city folks watching today. I bet they don't know about neck ringing, maybe the older generation of city folks.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, $800 a month, I see, was the agreement. And what happened to cause you to sue her today?
Around about mid to end of March this year, we had been texting and asking her about, when was rent going to be paid. She wasn't replying. When my mom went up to Colorado Springs for a different reason, she asked Melissa about the rent, and that was when Melissa said, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to pay it, and I'm moving out by the end of the month." We were kind of
That's not what I said.
All right, and how many months does she owe for, and which months are
3,
those?
May and June of 2017, and then March of 2018.
All right, and what about damages you're suing about?
Well, when we did a walkthrough with Melissa originally, everything looked pretty good. But then after she moved out, she had this large rug in the middle of the living room. And when the rug was picked up and she took it and threw it away, when we came back into the house, it appears that her dog, unfortunately, Pogo, was unbelievably old, and she had 2 cats, must have been urinating on this carpet, and it was soaking through to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so now my wood floor has all these gargantuan black, it's just, and I've got to have it sanded and done, and I can't just have like this area done because the whole floor is aged to a particular level, and so it's all got to be done now.
You have a estimate of repairs?
I do not have an estimate. I haven't been able to get anybody out to the house. Things went kind of.
I feel for people and concerned myself, quite frankly, about aging dogs. When you have aging dogs, I understand it's difficult for them to control their bladder, and they urinate in parts of the home that, of course, cause damage. Let me hear from you.
I moved into the house. It was a 2-bedroom house, like I said. We've been friends for a while. Things started going south when Liz and her mom just thought that they could come to the house whenever they wanted. They felt entitled to the house. They felt entitled to the house. Liz would come over and party for the weekend, quote unquote. She would go downstairs. My 15-year-old son was living downstairs in his own bedroom because it had a bathroom to itself. He's 15 years old, wanted his privacy.
Supposed to be down there.
Liz would go and party on the weekend. My son would come upstairs with me. She would leave used condoms on his floor. He was 15 years old.
Upstairs?
To me.
Upstairs?
No, downstairs in his room. She would sleep in his room and have men come and hang out with her.
Come
and hang out with her, and would leave dirty condoms, used condoms on his floor. He came up to me.
How do you know weren't his? That sounds like it was
Right?
likely that they were his.
I have a 20-year-old that is in the Air Force. He brought me home from the hospital one week, and I got put in the hospital for major surgery. He brought me home from the hospital. Liz was in my bedroom, and
That was the room you'd been asking me to stay in because you didn't want to move your
had
son.
multiple men per my 15-year-old.
How do you know? Oh, your 15-year-old
My
told
son
you
would
that.
come and tell me, and my
You
witness.
believe everything he tells you,
I
that
do,
a
sir.
15-year-old?
I do, sir. He is a good boy. He doesn't run the streets. He
all
doesn't
right.
smoke. He's a good kid.
And doesn't have sex.
Doesn't have sex, no, sir.
He will never have sex, will he?
We'll have sex once he leaves
And
my
when?
house.
When he
leaves my
moves?
house.
And when is he going to move out?
I raise good kids.
When is he going to move out?
When he's 18, sir.
18. That's the first time he's going to ever have sex, even over somebody else's
That's
house.
on him. You know?
Does he know this? Does he know he's only going to have sex when he's 18?
I'm a
Well, he'll
mom.
know
I'm a
it
good
soon.
mom.
Okay, Mama said you're not going to do it until 18, and I'm going to keep it a secret what you've already done. So that
Hey,
was
what
that
Mama
boy
don't know
down
can't
there.
hurt her.
The rent, ma'am. How is that associated with what you're telling me?
Her mom gave me a text message that said that if I would move out by a certain date, that she would take no further action. I assumed that she meant that she would, everything was good, and we were.
So you did fail to pay for the 3 months?
I did. I felt
Okay, and your defense today is that her mom, whose property was it?
The house is owned in a trust, but my mom is the one kind of.
And you've been authorized to represent it?
Yes,
the
sir, I
trust. Okay, ma'am. And let me see what you have. You say her mom gave you a pass on the $1,800. Is that your defense
Yes,
today?
sir. She said if I moved out by a certain date that I would no longer owe the money.
I am not aware of that, Your Honor.
I didn't see that either. Read
don't
that
even
part.
like your mom.
Maybe read that part where she says,
I
you
live
know.
in the same house with her.
Really? I have text messages saying that you wanted to kill her.
And you don't have a falling
You
out.
read,
You
tell
don't
me
even-
what she says. You won't owe any more money. I didn't see that.
It says, also, please put in writing that you're leaving at the end of March and I won't take any other action.
And that means she won't take you to court.
That she won't
That's
take you to
what
court.
that might mean. It says nothing about you no longer owe. No further action might be, I'm not going to take you to court. No further action might be, I'm not going to whoop you behind. You don't know what that meant. So unless you have something that says money, then you can't use that as a defense. Property damage, what do you have to say about that?
I didn't do it. There was never a walkthrough
You
done when
didn't do it. I don't think she's alleging you did it, ma'am. And I hope you
Can she
wouldn't.
can she
I
prove
would
that
hope
I did
you
it?
didn't do it then or anywhere else. Your dog didn't do it.
No, sir.
All right, you need to say that.
My dog didn't do it. My cat didn't do it.
You throw people off. All right, what do you think happened to the property?
That was that way when I moved in. She had previous renters in there. She did not do a walkthrough with me. I did not do that damage. Matter of fact, I helped that
How old
property
is your
more than-
dog, ma'am?
My dog, I had to put my dog down in January, sir.
Because of age?
Yes, sir.
All right, your counterclaim for $3,000 for breach and emotional distress. How so?
Her mom is bad. Her mom's crazy. She followed me. She stalked me. She harassed me. She came and lived upstairs with me for a week. Her son.
She lived
Your
upstairs.
stole
You were
my.
downstairs.
I'm an
Because
insulin.
your stuff was
I'm diabetic,
downstairs.
sir. I take insulin 5 times a day. Her stole my insulin and he stole my narcotics. He
You
stole my.
claim he
pain meds.
did. A, you never called the police. And
I did
B, your
call the police.
insulin was there at the house.
And
you found your
insulin
insulin
showed
in
up.
your
I have
How
a
does
witness.
that, how
I'm
does
a
that
witness.
equal a breach of contract, ma'am?
Because she moved her grandson downstairs. When in the lease it says that they can come and go as they want, but never once did they say they can move
Where
somebody
did you
else
live?
down
There
there.
you go
Can you just
again.
shut
Read
up for a
that.
minute?
There you go
Where did
again.
you move? Where
With
did
what
you live when
something
you first
says,
came
and
to-
it does not say that. That first paragraph is very clear about the occupancy there. It says that one person can stay upstairs. That's what they were renting you, is the upstairs, and they have free use of the downstairs. So she can do whatever she wanted downstairs according to the lease, ma'am. You want to read it, or you just want to hand me back and take my word? Because I
And
don't
she
take
lived
your word. You might
downstairs,
not
too.
want to take mine either. And I'm going to grant you your judgment, ma'am. She claims that a note in your mother's correspondence with her told her she didn't have to pay. It said no such thing. Just said, I won't jump on you. And secondly, with regard to the property damage, she acknowledged her dog was aged. That gives me the belief that the dog did urinate profusely on your floor and cause damage to your wooden floor. Your counterclaim, ma'am, she didn't breach the contract. As you know, it says that you only had control of the upstairs. She can do what she wanted downstairs. So your claim is dismissed. $4,400 for you, and your claim is dismissed. Ma'am, have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am just so happy to
Shut the
and I am glad that at this point we are through. I've learned my lesson over 30 years and will never mess with this broad again.
You know what? I hope karma really bites you because you're a crazy, and you're just like your mama.
Karma is right where it belongs.
You know what?
honey.
At least I have a job. What do you
I
do
do.
for a
I
living?
have a bail bond
Laying
company,
on your
a
back?
ranch,
Laying on your
whatever.
back?